Can y'all hear me? Throw a 1 in the chat. I got on a filter, but it's night. Y'all couldn't see me regardless. So, well, it's early day. Throw a 1 in the chat, somebody. I just want to make sure y'all can hear me out here on this porch. You know, the plasma energy is rising. Right now is the time you're supposed to be up. We got other bodies in orbit. I call them suns. People call them planetary bodies, but not the ones that they showing y'all in the solar system, that they want y'all to believe is a solar system. You are the solar system. When you enter and understand that the planets are within you, and in this reality, you create how you interact with those bodies, then that's when you call in your real power, when you here on this plane. Now, when you sleep in reality, it's a whole different principle that we operate under. But you got to enter and understand that right now, your soul is trapped in a tomb. A tomb. That's what your flesh is. See, Atum is atoms. That's all the same thing. Now, over and understand, when your soul came from solar through that portal eons ago, eons, if you want to map it in time, because there's no such thing as time in the cosmos. That's what you got to over and understand. Time only exists when you wake up and you look at a clock, and then you put yourself on time. But time in reality don't exist. And I'm talking about the reality beyond this, because this is not reality. This is just a projection. I always tell y'all, you somewhere else. This is your avatar. These are your atoms in this plane, because you got more density. You got more mass. Gravity don't exist. None of that. Just density. Just mass. This whole plane is just water. Different forms of water, hydrogen, and light. When you over and understand that, then you can kind of begin to see what it is here in this plane, because you got some energies here that's trapped. People call them gods. But enter and understand, the energy is trapped here for a reason. We trapped it here. Those entities or beings that you call gods, it's not really trapped. They're not really trapped. They're doing the job. What's the job? This is Earth school. So if you enter and understand that this dimension is just to teach your soul that little minute energy that's in you, that's smaller than a neutrino, and now it got more dense because your energy fell into this plane, and you projecting this flesh out here, but your atoms are still linked to the cosmos from which you came. That's how all of those planetary bodies that's coming back into orbit can affect you and cause your atoms to change. And that is the evolution that is getting ready to be our revolution. But over and understand, revolution just means to revolve. It means to evolve. Your cells are moving faster, your atoms, because they are interacting with the cosmic energy that's hitting this planet right now. When you are awake on this plane, because your soul interacts regardless. And your soul is right now trapped in an Atum. A tomb. When you go to sleep, your soul is no longer trapped in a tomb, because you're not in the simulation then. So then the principles change. And if you enter and understand that when you dream, there is no time, because time don't exist. So when they telling you something finna happen in 2024, it already happened. Because time don't exist. So when you say it's now, it is now. Because time don't exist. Everything is now. You existed then, you exist now, and you exist in the future, because your soul is immortal. Over and understand. This giant, see, people get it twisted. If you understand your soul is as smaller than a neutrino, smaller than anything that they could map with on this earth, because the energy don't come from this earth, so you can't map it in a metric from this plane. Over and understand that, because that energy existed before this plane. So they can't even enter and understand what it is really, because it's beyond the concept of the brain that they can conceive, because they can't get no higher than just these two hemispheres of this brain. But you could get higher than that. That's how I'm coming to you, and I'm dropping this right here. So what I was saying was the atoms. Okay, let's go back there. So Atum, think about the Helios, Biblios, all of them books that they translated. The atom and the electron. So that's what your soul is trapped in now. Your atoms and your electrons. But you still link to the cosmos. That's important. And you feed off of this energy right now. If you look at the sky at night, it's like a purple hue. Why do you think that color purple is so important? It's because on the electromagnetic spectrum, you got to start thinking about yourself as an electromagnetic being. The electric is what your atoms is doing right now, but the magnetism is your soul. It operates in this plane like a magnet. It has a positive and a negative pole. And it interacts with everything around it in positive and negative interactions. That's what they taught you about ionic exchange. But they fucked you up because they made it seem like it was a chemical and not you. You exchanging ions with everything around you right now. Your soul is. But your soul is as small as a neutrino. It's smaller than an atom. It's within the atom. But those atoms is what we project here, and then we interact with everything around us. And then that affects our magnetism. But over and understand, your magnetism also affects that. So if you could get there, then you can get to the point where you can get on the same plane of magnetism with anything in this realm. And then you can control it. You can begin to read the energy, because we are more than what you can see. That's the ionic exchange. That's the auric fields that we're talking about. All of those colors that's not in the visual spectrum, but that's still here. That's the different shadows of you. That's the different projections of you, of light that radiate from your soul, and it's visualized in this plane as a color, the colors of a rainbow. But when you see a rainbow in the sky, they tell you that's what a portal. But you got a rainbow around you right now because your soul is in a tomb, in a portal. Good God. You came down your mother's portal from out of her womb, y'all. Come on with me. Come on with me. This is the water realm. This is marine time. Come on, y'all. Well, you in marine time. They done fucked y'all up. Because the real space is down. It's the ocean. It's real crazy. But you also got that same space within you, and you can interact with space anytime you put yourself in water. You go into, like, they call it sensory deprivation. Ain't that the same simulation they show you when they call themselves floating in space? Ain't you doing that when you get in the water, in the ocean? If you dive deep in the water, your atoms start to interact with the water because you are the water and the water is you. And then all of the sensory perception, that's the lie, don't exist anymore because it don't exist. The only reason that you feeling you in this reality right now is because it's what the brain is perceiving. You understand? It's what your hemispheres of your brain, the perception. But at any moment, you can change your perception of your reality, can't you? And your perception of that reality will be totally different than somebody else. But y'all will still be in the same moment. You'll still be in the same time because time only exists here. Like I was telling my spiritual group during our book club discussion tonight, that even though I might have incarnated to this plane, my energy before some of y'all's, we all are still the same age because all of our energies was birthed at the same time. So over and understand, you aren't any age on this plane. When you say that you are an age, you attach yourself to this plane and you lock yourself here. Because you gave yourself the command that you're supposed to be here in this continuum, because the cosmic mind do not exist on time. The only mind that exists on time is your brain in this hemisphere. So if you are higher than a God, if you give yourself the command that you finna stay here, you gonna stay here. And that could be many cycles, tribe. That could be many cycles. But guess what? Some of us get it quicker and some of us get it slower, but it ain't no time. It's just the revolutions of the atoms of the soul as it incarnates here and figures out what's going on. And then once you figure it out, and it's time for us to project out of this body, it's time for those neutrinos to call that energy back. Because remember, you exist in the cosmos. You're not really here. Your neutrinos just fell here. Over and understand, but you still got the cosmic mind, because that's where you were birthed from. That was where your portal came from. And you came through a different portal, your mother's portal, after you fell and you got density, mass. And that's the real Nephilim. Good grief. You really is a Nephilim right now. You a giant compared to your soul. Your soul is lighter than light. Remember Anubis, lighter than a feather? He trying to tell you your soul, man. It's like simple concepts, but because they done fucked up people's mind, it's hard to shift people out of what their perception is, because what you perceive is everything right now, because you commanded yourself and you giving energy to certain principalities that's down here that's feeding off of you. But that's the simulation. That's what they're supposed to do, so you can grow as a soul and eventually realize what you are. And then, like I said, once that moment comes, and it's really time for you to leave. Like right now, I feel like I'm a senior out here. You know how you be a senior in high school and you be telling the class like I'm about to graduate? Because I'm about to graduate this time. But you know, sometimes you see the freshmen and you try to hit them with a little knowledge before you get out the door, because you about to go to college, you about to go to another plane. That's what I'm finna do this time. I ain't coming back here. I ain't got to, but because I done learned. But I'm finna still drop this here for y'all. Some that ain't gonna come over and understand. It don't matter how many times. You might reincarnate 10,000 cycles. Or you might only have to reincarnate one cycle before you get it. Over and understand what I'm saying. Whenever you get ready to project your soul out of here, and you get out of here, and we get back up into the cosmic plane, enter and overstand. It don't matter how many times you reincarnated here or I reincarnated here. Once we get there, our energies is still the same infinity. There is no age, because we were all birthed at the same time. And if time don't exist, your cycle is your cycle. It's just a cycle, but enter and overstand. It's a cycle, but once you get up there, we all the same again. The same, what is it? How can I put it for this plane? Trying to think of how I could say it. We all the same. If it was a such thing as age, we would all be the same age. No matter how many times your energy had to go through the cycle here, enter and overstand. Once you ascend there, we all on the same level again. We was all on the same level when we came down here. It's just different cycles for you to realize the level that you got to get back to the level you was always on. So I'm not wiser than you. I just done been through more cycles here and remember my way back. And one day you gonna get there too, and you gonna remember your way back. And then you gonna be dropping shit for somebody else that's gonna remember, and they gonna get their way back. But when you get back up there to the cosmos, to the cosmic mind, we all the same age, or all the same length in that spectrum. Because we all came from the same energy at the same moment. And that moment exists forever. It just changes the way that it takes form. But that energy always going to exist. So you is the infinity up there. And I'm the infinity up there. What's the infinity showing you? It's just showing you a cycle. Because that's all that exists to your soul is cycles and magnetism. And so when you understand that, then you understand how some people could be down here right now and they could have a soul, but they can't get it. They got some more cycles to go, and that's all right. You had many cycles, yo. I was remembering my past lives. Good God, boy, woo, who done been remembering their past lives? See, that's when it get really real, when you go to remembering your other incarnations here. That's what they didn't want to happen. Because that's when you really start seeing the shit. Like how many times you done been a humanitarian, how many times you done been a warrior, how many different things you done on this realm. Then you go to understanding why the most spiritual is the most battle tested, because you see that you was once that motherfucker that's fucking up right now. And out here wilding right now. And out here killing and don't understand. And you was that ignorant motherfucker too. Because you got to go through that cycle. But we all the same age. Good grief. Or the same. But they just got to go through it. And you got to let them. That's another thing. You can't affect them. You can only affect you. That's what's supposed to happen. I'm telling you this because what you're seeing right now, you might want to change what's happening to some. You might want to try to affect their reality, their perception. That you can't. Because you had many incarnations where you had a different perception too, and your atoms had to reform and evolve to learn how to get there, to vibrate. Everything is an interaction, like I told you, that ionic exchange. And once your atoms start vibrating at a certain level, you could feel everything. You can hear. You get telepathic because you connecting with everything around you. But the soul got to learn how to do that again. And that's what they soul got to learn how to do. So think about it. When you was a child, you was wild. You understand? You ain't have no principles, really. And then you had to learn how to walk. They gotta learn, y'all. It ain't this ain't they, like, some people finna go through another 3,333 years. Okay. You went through another 3,333 years too one time when this happened. That's why you here right now. If you dare, if you enter and understand what I'm saying, if you finna graduate from this shit. And then some people not. But it's not going to be this specific plane again. It's going to be different. It's going to be a different exchange because guess what? If you in a plane and you fail, this is how the algorithm have to work. If you fail, then I got to check it's got to change because you got to interact and get there. So I got to change what's around you so your ions, so your atoms, so your soul can interact and learn the lesson because you ain't learned the lesson from this simulation. So I got to change it because the whole goal is not the simulation. The goal is for you to learn how to vibrate good enough to get back to the cosmic mind. Because this shit was all a test. And when you over and understand that this shit don't exist, death don't exist, none of this exists. To live is to die, and to die is to live. When you really understand, like when you really get there, y'all, and you go to astro traveling and stuff for real, and you see that this realm, you always gonna go through the tribulations here. Until you learn a tribulation ain't even a tribulation, you just making it that because you attached to it. If I sat here and I told you the family that you got in your mind right now don't exist, that's a hard perception of reality for some people to grasp, but it's real. The same shit you doing in this lifetime with them iterations of that family is the same shit you done did in many other ones. Why you still there? You not changing your cycle because you ain't got it yet. That is the fucking cycle for you to do something different. How many cycles have you been a martyr? How many cycles have you tried to save that family and missed your ascension? Hold up. Oh, for real. Fuck that. I gotta come back on that. How many iterations have you sacrificed your soul? Hold up. Because of a false reality and had to reincarnate here and do it again, and you doing the same fucking thing right now. This is the time for you to ascend beyond it all. This is the time for you to realize this ain't real. Because hanging on to the shit gonna cause you to have to cycle back. Because you ain't learned the lesson that was always done been the lesson that you ain't never learned. That the only thing that you can affect in this reality is you and your soul getting out of here. Because that's what this is designed to do. And the algorithm always going to be designed to make you want to hold on to something here, to command yourself to stay. It's you right now versus you. That time that you spending on other people got to be the time that you spending ascending right now. It might not be their cycle. But if you keep on hanging on to them, you finna miss your cycle. And then you gonna have to learn again. You gonna have to reincarnate. And you gonna have to go through the same shit again. In a different angle. On this plane. And that's the real fucking moksha shit that they be talking about, the reincarnation. When they talk about some people come back as insects, some people come, that shit is real. Shit, your energy might reincarnate back to a tree. Supreme honor my, but that shit's real. Your energy might reincarnate back to a tree. That's why some ancestors exist in the nature. Because your soul got to interact with the ions. It's got to learn a lesson. This ain't the only lesson. So maybe your energy, maybe your soul need to be in a tomb like a tree. So you could perceive the reality that way. It's however the angles in you need to learn the lesson. And then the soul gonna discharge that and go to another lesson. But if you keep on getting stuck here on this plane, you're going to keep on reincarnating here and having to go through the same lessons over and over again. That's why they wiped your memory, because they didn't want you to see that you keep on repeating the exact same cycle, just in a different iteration. Because if you saw that, then you would enter and overstand. You couldn't change nothing that you're seeing right now, and you would focus back on you. I had to just realize that I want to change because I done got psychic. I could see what's getting ready to happen before it happened. So I've been trying to stop shit from occurring, and the shit's still occurring. But now I got to the point that I realize it always occurred, and I've been doing the same thing every life path, just at a different angle. Whether I was royalty in this life, whether I was a tree. Because I done been everything on the spectrum. And so have some of y'all. When you get to this level, you done been through some shit. Not shit really, but you done been through some You done been through some revolutions, because that's the only way you can evolve to get out of this perception, what you are perceiving when you are awake, or so-called woke. Because when you woke, you really dead. People need to stop saying they woke. You really don't enter and understand what you're saying. Why you think that when people dead, you understand, they have you go and try to curse them and tell you you're going to awake. You don't want them motherfuckers woke. You want them where they at. When you woke, you really dead. So you ain't awake. When you get to this point, you beyond that. You somewhere else. You beyond consciousness. You sub. You somewhere else. I ain't woke to shit, because woke means I accept this reality. That's what you gotta understand. If I'm woke, that means I'm living here in this perception, and I know this shit ain't real, so I can't be this, what they call woke in this realm. Because if you you know what I'm saying? Like, shit too deep. People be cursing themselves. You don't even realize what you're saying. If you higher than any God on this plane, over and understand that too. All of the principalities on this plane, you are higher than, because you created them. Therefore, you became before them. So when I say higher than, I'm just talking about the hierarchy. Meaning that the hierarchy is what you can control. So when you even over and understand that the principalities that you created them, and they are within you, and that's the reality that you projecting on this realm, then you even see that you higher than them, and you can control what they project. You can command them, because you created those principalities in the first place. So I don't have to call on Oshun, because I came before her. That's just the energy that was created in this plane that I created. It's a program. Exactly. We are the void. I'm glad y'all understanding this. You the void. The black hole, if it was ever such a thing. The nothingness, you understand? But it's everything is in the nothingness. Everything is in nothing. Because that's what man. It's hard to explain it. Because when they told you something was nothing, you equivalated it to an amount. That's what it was. When they tell you something is nothing, you equivalate it to an amount. And when they tell you that something is something, you understand, you equivalate it to a big amount, something that you can see. But you got to enter and understand the nothing is everything. And what you see is really nothing. Because that don't exist. God. When you close your eyes and you see nothing, that's everything. And when you open them and you see what you call something, that's really nothing, because it don't exist. When you close your eyes in the nothing is the absolute. It's the absolute value. It's the total sum. That's where we exist, in the nothing, in the void, in the crease. You in the crease of everything, of it all. In the crevice. And then it radiates It radiate out of you. It split. That's what a realm do. It split. Just like mitosis. And that's how you create all of these realms of what you call a reality. And that's all Earth is. You in the crevice right now, and it's a split. And this is what you perceive in here. But when your soul project out of here, it'll be another thing. But you'll still be in the void, the nothing, but you'll create another perception. And it's just every time you create a dimensional plane, it have to split. Because it's dual energies. And you housed in the middle of that energy, you in the vortex. It do the same thing as a cell. It do the same thing as the magnetic vortexes of the earth, as the magnetic vortexes of you. You know, if you done seen them pictures and they show you your heart, and then they show you the magnetism radiating out of both sides, you know, the auric fields. That's what dimensions do too. But you create the dimension. You in the split. And then you create the plane. Crazy. But it's real. And that's what's going to happen when you get out of Earth plane. You'll create another perception. And it'll be you interacting with that perception. But you is the void. It's just whatever you create. It's whatever you create, yo. It's like when you sleep and you dream. Whatever you create, when you really get out of here, it's whatever you create. That's why when you be dreaming, some people just be creating shit because that really's real. You know, Ashe, that's some good information right there. Sis, most will be eliminated within a frequency that no longer exists because we traveled to the void. We are the start from the beginning. Ashe. But over and understand, if it ceased to exist, it couldn't have never existed in the first place, so it don't matter. Ashe, Zero Carbon, you know they got me on, you don't see my posts no more because they got me on shadow ban like a month. They don't even record my lives no more, yo. They throttling me because I'm over here just dropping shit. But yeah, it don't even matter. Enter and overstand. Everything that's supposed to be affected right now is going to be affected in the way that it's supposed to be affected. If it have a soul and it's not hitting it right now, it's the exchange. It's not time for it. They ain't on the revolution yet. They ain't got there. So they got to go through some more cycles, and that's fine. Let them. But if it didn't exist, then it don't. Then that means that's just a perception that you done created because you in the void. Over and understand. If something don't, you say many gonna cease to exist because they never existed anyway. That's just a perception that you created that it existed. You fight in your own simulation right now, pretty much. Ashe. They took your page. That's fuck. You know what though? Let them. You know, like I look at it like this now. Like, okay. You know what? Do you know how many lifetimes you know probably tried to wake people up and it never happened, and you missed your ascension because you were sitting there trying to wake somebody up? See, that's the reason why I'm saying this to y'all right now. Because a lot of people feel like you done this so many times, y'all. It's time for you now. When they take your page, let them. It ain't nothing else left for you to do with that page, because that reality was only the reality that you created anyway. When you created the page and put yourself in that reality, oh God, you ain't even in there and understanding what I'm saying. I hope somebody hear me. That's a lesson you created for yourself. Learn a lesson and move forward. Incarnate, they took your page, good, time for it to go. Learn the lesson. You the teacher, but you also the student. It was a lesson you were supposed to learn and move forward, not try to open up another page and repeat the cycle. You ain't going to affect nothing. You just going to stop your ascension. Oh, fuck. Trying to help y'all to get it. Stop repeating cycles. Motherfucker, we do it all the time. It's all you. Exactly 9 May, Samuel. Simply put, there is no they. It's all you. It's all you. Do you understand? You created that page as a lesson to yourself, not to nobody else. But you got to make sure that you learn the lesson, teacher and student. What's the lesson? The ultimate lesson is the only reality that you're going to affect is yours. So if you don't learn the lesson, you're going to go do what? Open up another page and think you're going to change something, and you're going to do the same fucking thing over and over. And then you're going to miss your ascension. Because that time and energy that you put into that page should have been that time and energy you put into goddamn getting your ion exchange with this reality so you could beat it. But you too busy trying to tell everybody or trying to repeat the cycle. The cycle was for you to learn, not for them to learn. Oh. When you a teacher, you really become the student. In this plane, when you become a teacher, you really become the student. Right now, I'm the student because I learned the lesson from coming on here and trying to teach y'all. And what was the lesson? The lesson is that I done this many lifetimes. And it never changed nothing. But it changed me. You know how it changed me? Because it taught me a lesson. The lesson is that I need to focus on my ascension. And the lesson is to tell some of y'all the same thing. And the lesson is that I know this page is going to go. And when this page go this time, I'm going to use this as my lesson. That it's time for that cycle to end. That I done learned the lesson that I needed to learn from my page. By exercising my throat chakra. Because it wasn't ever about teaching y'all, even though, you know, my heart chakra there with y'all and I want y'all to ascend. This was always about my ascension and learning a lesson. And I couldn't learn that lesson unless I got up here and exercised my throat chakra. And interacted with my pineal. This is my lesson. I'm the student. Y'all teaching me something. Y'all don't even enter and understand. Y'all thought I was up here teaching y'all, right? The ultimate lesson was always for you to learn, not for nobody else. It's how my ions is interacting with y'all right now. But that's for my soul to learn the lesson. Y'all, it might be affecting your angles too and helping you ascend and over and understand that the only ascension you could really affect is you. And when you got up here and you started your pages and you started speaking, you was the student. You became the student.